What's going on, everybody? Backyard Chicken Bro coming at you with episode 2. Today we're going to cover brooder box setup. Pull on your hats. Alright, so here we go. I got my redneck whiteboard right here. This is the items that I focus on when setting up a brooder box to best keep chicks and raise them until they're adult hens and integrate them into my existing flock. So, starting off with dimensions. Long story short, your brooder box, it should be built to control the environment around the chicks. So what you're doing is a brooder is in place of a broody hen that would incubate eggs and then control the environment around the hatched chicks via their feathers. Obviously, if you got a brooder box, you ain't got no mama hens. So you're the mama hen. So, all right? So your brooder box, what you want to do when determining what size you want to get or you need is how many chicks you're going to have. So the recommended size per square inch per chick is 4 to 6 square inches of space per one chick that you have. So my box is 6 square feet, so it's sized correctly for housing a dozen chicks comfortably. If that makes sense, all right? So it's 3 feet by 2 feet. I chose to make it 16 inches tall in terms of the height because I was going to use what's called the deep litter method. What that is you put a lot of bedding in the brooder box so that when the chicks are in there and they're pooping and they're scratching, they can cover up their own waste and it doesn't get all nasty inside. You can go for longer periods of time without having to worry about cleaning out or changing out the bedding. I use premium horse grade bedding in my brooder box, and basically what that is really fine cut pine chips. And I think this is actually the best material for young chicks because, one, it allows them some really good footing. You don't want to have a slick surface as far as bedding because the chicks can actually fall down. If it gets too slick from having poop in there, they actually cause themselves a leg injury if they fall too much. But it allows them to start honing their instinctive skill of scratching and looking for food. So, like, you'll see I've got 3 younger chicks in here right now. They're about anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks old. They will peck their food out of the food container, and they will actually search for it on the ground already. They're starting to do that process at just 5 weeks old. So, that covers dimensions. The other nice thing about having a 16-inch tall box is when they start getting a little bit older like they are right now, they're able to fly a little bit and they can start actually practicing perching. It's another instinctive skill that chickens have is to perch. So it's nice for them to have that asset as well. You can use any materials you want. I've seen people use Tupperware containers, cardboard. I chose to make mine out of something sturdier because I knew I was going to be out in the country and my garage was going to be open part of the time. So I wanted to make my box predator proof, which I'll go over a little bit later in the episode. Heat source. In the absence of the mama hen, when you have brand new chicks that have no feathers and they just got that fuzz, you want to keep the brooder box at the heat source 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know that seems really hot, but they are not at that young age where they don't have any feathers able to control their own body temperature or regulate their own body temperature. So you need to keep it rather warm in one spot. So they have one area where they can warm themselves up, and then you have another removed area where they can get away from the heat source if they need to cool down. For that reason, you can see my heat source is strung up vertically. I go with a heat lamp. I know some people in the chicken community are anti-heat lamp because they are a fire hazard. I think with anything, just like, you got a lighter in the house if you're a smoker or anything like that, if you use something in a stupid way, yeah, it's going to be dangerous. But if you're intelligent about what you're using, you're probably going to be all right. So, for instance, I've got my heat lamp strung vertically. So one, it's not going to fall and come into contact with something that can catch on fire. But two, I can adjust the height in order to bring it down closer and make it warmer in the box if I need to, or bring it farther away and make it cooler in the box if I need to. So this setup works for the duration of the time you have the chicks in the box. Because as they start getting older like mine are, I'm only keeping my box at about 80 degrees Fahrenheit right now because they've got most of their feathers. Another part of that too is I go with a red light bulb because I want to be able to keep the brooder at night and not screw up their day-night cycle. so the red light will allow them to still think it's nighttime and sleep most of the night. So thermometer. I go with a small digital thermometer. You can see the reading source is in the box. I just got it tucked in the corner. And then we've got the readout right here. You can see that the thing I like about this is I can bring this in the house and keep track of what temperature it is in the brooder box. I don't have to keep walking out here to check if it was just, you know, your regular wall hanging thermometer with an arrow dial that changes. So it's a little bit more convenient. It's like 15 bucks at your local farm store. I mean, it's pretty much the same cost for digital nowadays as it is a regular wall hanging dial. But yeah, so 90 degrees Fahrenheit in the beginning when they have no feathers. You can reduce that as they get feathers. Like I said, I'm at 80 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and they're 5, 6, 7 weeks old. Water and food source. Food source, you can pretty much locate it anywhere in the box. I always keep my water source farthest away from the heat source part of the box as possible. It just keeps the water a little bit more cooler if they need to cool themselves off. And typically, I try to keep it removed from the food source too, because it keeps the water a little cleaner. Predator proofing. So, like I said before, I made my box a little bit more heavy duty. It's made out of 5/8 inch plywood, all 4 sides. I have it slatted on the bottom, so it's actually raised off the concrete to better control the temperature inside the box. But and then the lid itself, is half covered. So if I needed to take this box outside, they've got an area of the box they can actually see cover under. And then this part is covered in steel mesh. You want to go with steel mesh when making chicken housing in general, whether it's a brooder box or a chicken coop or a chicken tractor. You don't want to use chicken wire. Chicken wire, it's called chicken wire. It's really good for keeping chickens inside of an area, really bad at keeping predators outside of the chicken area. Any of your typical chicken predators, raccoons, badgers, possums, they can all break through chicken wire. So make sure you're using steel mesh. Air movement. So you can see I got a small 12-inch fan rigged up in here. I keep my brooder box in my garage so it gets a little stuffy. So I keep a 12-inch fan running in humid parts of the day, just so they have some better air movement and they're not overheating in the box. Even if I have the heat lamp turned off, I mean, if it gets 95 degrees outside, it'll be, you know, hotter in here. So I want to make sure they have a way of cooling themselves off since they're not outside. They can't take a dirt bath. You know, they can't use regular cooling methods an adult hen outside being able to use. And lighting, last but not least. Lighting is pretty fundamental. Keep your brooder box lit during daylight hours and make sure it's in the dark during night hours so you get them on a good night and day schedule, because when you go to integrate them into your flock, if you have an existing flock, you're going to want them to be on a similar day and night schedule so they roost at the same time as the other chickens. And that's pretty much it. So you got your list of things to check out. If you got any questions, post comments, but otherwise enjoy your evening, keep your chicken game strong. I'll check y'all later.